Good morning and welcome to this week's press conference. Today we will update our progress on the city's first ever historic preservation plan and will announce the opportunities for people of Erie to participate in this. Here's a brief recap. We have come a long way since City Council and I appointed the Historic Preservation Task Force back in 2019. The Preservation Task Force's mission was to study, analyze, and do three things. First, create policy recommendations. Second, community-supported goals for historic preservation. And third, identify funding opportunities. Over the 2 years from 2021 to 2021, the task force worked on 8 projects. Those projects were they researched preservation tools, they conducted a survey, they identified policy recommendations, they applied for certified local government status, they drafted a zoning ordinance amendment, and they established a historic review commission, and finally they applied for a Keystone Preservation grant. As a direct result of this work, they accomplished 4 things. First, the city's Historic Review Commission was appointed in May of 2021. Second, the city was awarded certified local government status. Third, the grants I mentioned were secured. And fourth, Erie's first ever historic preservation planner, Chris Kinder, was hired back in October of 2021. Over the course of the past year, Chris Kinder and the Historic Review Commission have been very busy, and today we're excited to have Chris give us an update. Chris.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor. Since the creation of the Historic Preservation Task Force in 2019, Erie has come a long way in developing a municipal historic preservation program. Part of ensuring that our program is successful is to create a comprehensive historic preservation plan for Erie. The purpose of the preservation plan is to identify current and future goals for historic preservation in the city, to identify important historic and cultural resources in the city, and to develop management policies and strategies for their appropriate use, conservation, preservation, and protection, as well as to develop tools, incentives, and programs that use historic preservation as part of a toolkit for sustainable and equitable revitalization of Erie. In 2021, the City of Erie was awarded a Keystone Historic Preservation Grant from the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission to hire a consultant to assist us in developing that plan. After a nationwide request for proposals, several highly qualified consulting firms submitted proposals to create the plan for Erie. After interviewing several consulting firms, the Historic Review Commission selected the Lakota Group based in Chicago, Illinois, to assist us in developing our plan. The Lakota Group was chosen for its extensive experience in helping cities develop historic preservation plans using a community-based approach with a diverse team of specialists for such cities as Albany, New York, El Dorado, Arkansas, San Antonio, Texas, and others. The Lakota Group is focused on community engagement and involvement and has a commitment to engage with underrepresented communities, which is vital for creating a successful plan for Erie. Since contracting with the Lakota Group in August, we have begun the process of examining how historic preservation could look in the city of Erie. In October, we began the process of engagement by hosting 3 days of intensive interview sessions and focus groups with key stakeholders in the city. Those meetings were insightful and have helped us form an idea of how we could use historic preservation as one of the many tools to help revitalize Erie's various communities. However, it is also important to hear the voices of Erie citizens on what they would like to see from this program. With this in mind, I am pleased to invite the public to one of 3 public meetings to discuss this developing plan. This will be an opportunity to see examples of what historic preservation can look like in all of our communities, to ask questions, voice opinions, and learn more about how you can play a role. The upcoming public meetings will be held next Monday and Tuesday, December 12th and 13th, at the following locations. On December 12th at 7 p.m. at New Life and Spirit Revival Center at 315 East 9th Street, also known as the Historic St. Mary's Church. On December 13th at 1 p.m. at Performing Arts and Collective Alliance, also known as PACA, at 1505 State Street. And on December 13th at 7 p.m. at the Cathedral St. Paul on West 6th Street. We encourage anyone that has an interest in Erie's history, historic preservation, community revitalization, or even just a curiosity to come and participate. As part of the creation of this plan, a website has also been created. This website is a place you can ask questions or voice opinions, as well as stay up to date on the plan and review documents as they become available. You can find the website at www.eriepreservationplan.com. We encourage everyone to engage with this plan so that we can develop a plan that will be successful in helping Erie grow and revitalize. If you have any questions about the plan project, please do not hesitate to reach out. My email is ckinder@erie.pa.us, or you can call me at 814-460-3096. Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, Chris. And before I actually continue with the script, I have to tell you something I just learned about Chris earlier today. In the last, correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, but in the last year and a half, Chris has lost 150 pounds. How about that? How about a round of applause? That's quite an accomplishment. So, again, thank you, Chris, for what you're doing. This is all very, very exciting. Thanks to the Lakota Group for working with us to create the city's first ever historic preservation effort. I want to close by recognizing and thanking more key people who have moved this process along over the past couple years here. First, Kathy Rosdick, who is Erie's first ever city planning director. She had a vision to spearhead the historic preservation plan. And of course, Chris Kinder, who has done a great job as Erie's first ever historic preservation planner, and the members of our Historic Review Commission, which is serving a critical role as they do a number of things. They assist in developing and administering locally created historic districts. They review certificates for appropriateness. They advise on policy and preservation tools. They're go-to for historic preservation, and they support efforts to obtain grants. For their work and dedication, I thank them, and they are Craig Pepper, who has been involved in Erie's quest for architectural historic preservation for 44 years. Mark Tannenbaum, the visionary behind the executive director of PACA, the Performing Arts Collective Alliance. Jeff Zilonis, who has for over 40 years of experience in engineering and working at GE. Dave Brennan, a former city council member, a local architect, and a longtime member of the Preservation Erie. Melinda Meyer, chair of the Historic Review Commission, executive director of Preservation Erie, and an employee of the county planning. And Jason Wazorek, the liaison from the City Planning Commission. Liz Allen, who's here with us, president of City Council and historic liaison to the HRC. Working together, these people are developing an exciting historic preservation plan that helps us to ensure that our neighborhoods are safe, welcoming, and vibrant. That concludes this week's press conference. Until next week, please follow us on social media for the latest updates on everything that is happening here in the city of Erie. And Chris Kinder and I are now available for interviews, and we'll follow that up then with some questions and answers with the group that's here. Thanks very much for being with us today. We appreciate it.